Literary Sensation. I'm your host, Dan. And on this episode, which is going to be age restricted, I'm going to be looking at some of the artwork of Ken Landgraf. This is Ken Landgraf. Although he worked for the major publishers, not a lot, but he did work for the major publishers. He's mostly famous for his self-published comic, New York City Outlaws, which is about it was from the black and white comic boom of the 80s, and a fantastic, fun book. It's about to be reissued in its entirety in a big book early in 2024 by Floating World and Power Comics are putting that out. My favorite stuff by him is the things he did for John Jacobs, for especially Dr. Peculiar. And I've done a video. You can look up World's Oddest Comic, and you'll find Dr. Peculiar on that video. So I recently, last couple months, I discovered that Ken has been taking requests. He's been doing sketches for people, drawings for people. He doesn't have his own website. He does it through eBay. And, I found that out because he was posting, to draw up business, he was posting pictures of some of the things he was making for people. And he had drawn a bunch of really good pictures of Conan and Red Sonja and stuff like that, barbarian stuff, which I really love. And I love his style. Now, when he was working for the majors, his work looked a lot slicker. The stuff he does for himself is done in a much cruder fashion, but he has an incredible amount of energy he gets out of this stuff. And, so the idea that people are asking him for these commissions, makes sense. And the Barbarian comics look really good. I mean, I wrote to him saying like, oh, I think you should, collect those commissions together and put out a book. He didn't hear me about that, but he's actually had these books. And you see, he originally did this back in 2019. I just hadn't seen it on the eBay site. Well, first I saw his How to Draw Comics the Ken Landgraf Way. And I bought those because I just wanted to see his art and I wanted to see him write about it. And a lot of the stuff in there is stuff you could have gotten from another book like How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way or something. But there were some really good, insightful ways of looking at perspective and dynamics that I thought were unique to him. And they're definitely some good books. I might take a look at those in another video. But what I really just wanted to see was more of his great art. And so now a couple months later, I see he's put these up. And there's a series of 3 books called Aqua Sexy Book 1, 2, and 3. I was like, what the heck? And you see this cover. These air tanks are really, really underdrawn, but they're scuba gear. This is pretty much the rawest artwork of his I've seen. And it starts off here at the beginning where he writes, I first started drawing shark attack art in 1978 when I did work for Eerie Publications for editor Jeff Goodman for the Jaws of Horror magazines, these were a series of Jaws Fever, the movie. The Jaws had come out years before. They were still making sequels, and Shark Attack stuff still had some mileage. And, Eerie Publications they were trying to make cheap magazines printed as cheaply as they could, making them as sensational as they could, and, just get some money quick and run off. So here it shows one of the pictures. Later, I got the idea to draw nudes with sharks. And this book is the result of eBay sales. So what I'm thinking is that this is, like I said, he got commissions to draw. He either drew them and then sold them, or maybe he got some commissions after the fact. But anyway, so these are things he's collected. I have a lot of fun drawing these, so I hope you enjoy my work. Best, Ken Landgraf, 2019. Now, you'll see, back in the late 70s and early 80s, I was involved in a fanzine or two, and we had Kinko's putting together. If you made, they couldn't saddle stitch bind things very, very thick at the Kinko's. So this was the alternative, is this piece of plastic scrunching up there. So you really don't see this much anymore, but he's obviously just going to the copy shop and getting these done. I guess he could be printing them at home and getting it done. So this is not the highest quality of printing, and the how to draw books are done the same way too. See this gruesome here. So I thought I'd point out this. Here's the same stuff. This is a great book about Eerie publications. It's mostly about the black and white horror comics, which is what people really remember them for. That was I think the backbone of the company. They were put out to take advantage of Warren Publishing's Creepy and Eerie and the success they were having. But here you'll see there's those same images reproduced better. There's the cover, the Jaws of Horror, and there's the book, the inside graphic of the kid being devoured by the shark. This is a great book, by the way, and it covers a lot of great. If you're into sensational magazines and gory, crazy nastiness, they don't get much crazier than this. The other thing that seems to be a major influence on this is the men's adventure magazines, so this is an interior from the men's sweat magazines. These are magazines that were popular in the 60s and into the 70s. They kind of died off. But you can see there where you're going to see how this relates in a second. Well, this underwater attack on babes in bikinis. So here we go. Here's Aqua Sexy book number 1. I'm not going to show a lot of this. You'll get the idea pretty quick about what this is about. And like I said, I am drawn to Ken's work in the same way I am an underground cartoonist. He really lets it all out there. He does not seem to care how anyone feels about this stuff. And, if you wanted to call this, I don't know that he would find the terms complimentary, but, kink or fetish, because this is, nude women in peril, fighting with each other, being attacked by sharks and octopuses. It's kind of weird. It's not for everybody, but it is. I think there's something interesting about it. So let's take a quick look at some of these, and you'll see there's very little color in this, but there is blood. And the funny thing is, when I was a kid, I used to I think I was like 12 years old when Savage Sword of Conan came out, or Savage Tales, that's what it was. And I still have my issues around, and they were black and white Conan books. And I used to put the color red on the pages to highlight the places where there was blood. And this feels just like that, like a little kid adding the blood that's needed to these black and white drawings. And there's this hammerhead looks a little wonky. And there's this is this seriously is um this is so much wonkier, so much, because Ken knows proportions. Ken knows how to draw. Like I said, he's worked for Marvel and DC, but when it comes to these, it feels like he's in such a hurry to get this idea out there. I don't mean to say it like he doesn't want to do it, or he's just like, I gotta get this done. It feels more like just I'm not sure how to describe it, but this, look at that octopus. And these, I'm not sure where he got the poses for the women. I don't know. I know that some of those really cheapo Italian horror comics, the Fumetti, a lot of times those guys would use girly magazines and just draw the women from those pictures, which is why sometimes when they're supposed to be in dire peril, it looks like maybe something else is going on. When I first looked at his face a little bit, this looked like it might have been, for some reason, it reminded me a bit of the faces in Love and Rockets. It really, he took more time on that face. I don't know if it's maybe a Gilbert face or something. Anyway, I can't show too much of this. There's some of it's really, really out there. And so you're getting the idea. You get the idea what this is. But anyway, so there's that. Like I said, he's selling this on eBay. The other thing is he's taking commissions. And like I said, I think maybe he drew a couple for himself because he had fun doing it. But then I think somebody was probably paying him to do more of them, because it definitely seems like the kind of thing. And now this one's Sexy Comic Book Babes of the Men's Adventure Magazines in Action and Peril. And this is book 1. And this is from 2022. And this one is also... oh, did I mention this? Oh, I was going to mention... I think I didn't mention... Did I mention this? I was going to mention this book. This is a book... I love this, put out by New Texture. Robert Dice and Wyatt Doyle do a fantastic thing called the Men's Adventure Library Journal. If you go and you find a bunch of old men's adventure magazines, they're fun to look at and stuff, but, a lot of the stuff is just kind of average, What they do is they've boiled down the best stuff and put them in books. This book, Maneaters, it's a print on, it's available through Amazon, and they print the best stories about shark attacks and surviving shark attacks from the men's adventure magazines. And they do a bunch of reproductions of the illustrations from the magazine. There's your cover. So I want to make sure I mention that if if you want to see where the inspiration for some of this stuff came from. So now this, it's, again, he's talking about being inspired by the men's adventure magazines. And so like this would be, again, from this book, the sweat magazines, these men's adventure magazines that were so popular in the 50s and 60s. Another big motif was Nazis torturing men and women. I like this one because it's just so bizarre. For some reason, the Nazis have a gorilla. And there you see one of the Nazi babes. And you see how evil these Nazi babes are. So there's some of that. And so here's Ken's answer to that. This is a thinly disguised Wonder Woman. And the early comics pre-code had a lot of Nazi torture stuff in them too. The World War II comics had all kinds of men and women in peril. Especially the sidekick of the hero would many times be in some torture device. And so he's kind of mushing together those early comics, the men's adventure magazines, and coming up with this. And this crazily overdone Wonder Woman in garters. Her uniform is now a garter belt with a little lace thing, and her chest is ballooned to an enormous size. And she's punching out the Nazi woman. And I like this art a lot better than the Shark one, because it's more in his other style, you know, the use of the tones and stuff. And he seems to have spent a little more time on this stuff. But again, it is crazed. It is really out there. And I love Ken for this because it is so crazy. When there's Freddy Krueger attacking Batgirl, and she's got an S there. So is that supposed to be Supergirl? I don't know. And that's Power Girl? I don't know. I hope I've realigned this book so that it's copying right. And there's superheroes being attacked by wild feral cats. They look like house cats, except the size of them. I mean, this one looks like a cross between a cat and a bear. So, and there's a sea monster. There's jungle. I mean, this is wild stuff. Just crazy. And I'm sure this is commission stuff. And here's the Planet of the Apes guys dangling Wonder Woman and Batgirl over a pit full of ravenous wolves or something. And there's Morlocks from the Time Machine attacking them. And oh yeah, and this looks like a big picture that, you know, we'd have to cut in two to, you know, we'd have to cut up the book to see that in all its glory. 2-page spread, but the way he's done his printing doesn't allow for that. Anyway, you get the idea. And there's another good 2-page spread messed up. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there he fixed that one by putting it to also showing it as one. So anyway, those are some of Ken's stuff. And like I said, it's on eBay. The more exciting thing, Mike, you know, his prices for his commissions, they're more expensive than, you know, there's people out there who do a commission for $30. These are not $30, but considering what Ken's done and what Ken's capable of, you check it out. And maybe one of your commissions will be in the next time he puts a book together. Like I said, I'd like to see the Art of Ken Landgraf Book 2 concentrated on those barbarian comics he was doing. Anyway, people, this has to be one of the craziest ones I've done. I hope somebody enjoyed it. I hope it didn't upset anybody. But if it did, well, that's the way this channel rolls.